Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Mark from Burton Bibles, and today what I wanted to do was just produce a video looking at 3 Bibles that I bought recently from the Christian Resources exhibition, which I went to back in October down in Surrey near London. Now, it was a great event. It was a fantastic experience, and while I was there was a big row of tables out there with seconds of Bibles from various publishers, from a Bible seller. And while I was there, I had a little look through to see if there was anything that caught my eye, and I managed to pick up 3 Bibles for £10 each, so £30, and here they are. And I thought I would take a look at these on the channel with you. And having had a look at these Bibles and spent some time with them and had a good look at their features and what they're doing, it was amazing to me what you can get for a low amount of money. Now, I realise these are box damaged, so you probably won't be able to get these for £10. But to be honest, the prices are not too much higher than that, to be fair. So you can get a lot of Bible for the money these days. Now, I will leave links, Amazon links to these Bibles in the description, and if you do want to check them out or pick one up, you'll be doing so and supporting the channel at the same time. But I was really impressed by what I managed to get hold of here. My wife is using one of these Bibles, I'm using one of these Bibles regularly, and to be honest, the other one I would also use on a regular basis because it's just so interesting and useful. So let's take a good look at these 3 Bibles down at the desk and just see what they're all about. Okay, so let's take a look at this Inspire Bible that when I first saw it, I immediately thought of my wife, and it might have been something that she might appreciate. So this is the Inspire Prayer Bible, and it's by Tyndale Publishers. Just get a zoom in on that, and visually it looks very attractive from the outside. As discussed, this is a damaged box copy, but nevertheless, for £10 I thought, well, I will pick this up. It looks like a beautiful thing. So here we go, and it looks like my wife's been busy with the colouring in already. Now, just in case you want to have a look at the back of the box there and take a pause on that, there's a bit of a description of the edition. And I think this Bible maybe retails for something like £30, something like that. But from what I've seen anyway, it even at that price, it's very, very good value. So it's clearly a Bible that's aimed at somebody who might want to journal or to doodle and to be creative. And so look at this cover, it's just absolutely beautiful. So we can see some of the features of this Bible here, and they have extra wide 3-inch margins. There's 32 colourful and beautifully designed see-through pages, and they are really very stunning. There are 94 full-page scripture line art illustrations to colour, such as seen here. And there's also a sort of journaling prompts, 142 of them like this, where you can sort of use the prompt here to do some colouring in and to prompt your prayer for the day. And yeah, it's really quite nice. Let's have a closer look at this Bible. So here's something of the outside of the Bible. You can see the gilding there on this cover. This cover feels like a sort of a leather soft or something like that, imitation leather perhaps, but it's really, really nice. I mean, look at the way that's catching the light. Nice gilding. So yeah, really impressed with the quality of this. You've got some head and tail bands and some nice ribbons there as well. Just look at the colours of this. Really attractive thing to have and to use every day. Now we'll just zoom in a little bit at this point. Okay, so let's take a look. So my wife has coloured in this already, so you can see some of that there. It's really nice. There's a full page sort of end sheet for you to colour in, a presentation page, and then we have some more information here. So it's the NLT, it's the New Living Translation, and it looks like that text is taken from 2015, the text version there. And when we look at the contents, you'll see that there's books of the Bible, and there's a note to readers, and there's a welcome to Inspire Prayer, and again, there's some really nice pages here. I really do like the approach that they're taking with this edition. And this is all about inspiring prayer. So it's staying in the Word, it's encouraging thought, meditation, while you kind of colour in and get creative and do some beautiful colouring in. And it's really just to help you with your meditations. I mean, look at this page in Genesis, for example. Here we have the trees and the fruits and the butterflies, the living things that God created. Absolutely beautiful. And then you've got this nice clear text. It looks to be something like maybe a 7.5 or an 8-point font there. And it's in a single column sort of paragraph style format. And it's really nice. So look at these 3-inch margins that you've got here. Loads of space for note-taking, jotting down things that you're praying about, things that you've noticed in the text, things that have meant something to you that day. And then there's lots of other little things that you can colour in as well. And they really are very nice. And I'll just move forward in the Bible to one of those nice see-through sheets. I mean, look at this. This is one of the sort of vellum paper see-through sheets that you've got here. Now these are really, really nice. I wondered whether you could sort of trace from this onto another piece of paper or something like that. But the colours on here are just absolutely stunning. You can probably see that there. Absolutely beautiful. And then you've got this nice layout again. It's as far as journaling Bibles goes, this is excellent as well. Here's another one of those vellum sheets, and there's another one here. So you can see just what you're getting in this Bible. Really fantastic. I believe they do a larger version of this as well, which is also equally beautiful. And there's just another example of that. Now I will say that if you want to use felt tips on here, I think it will go through the paper. I think my wife has found that as well. But certainly you can use some more gentler fine liners on here, pencil crayons, perhaps the Prismacolor pencil crayons would be great, wax crayons. I think my wife has been using these, it's a bad example, these Bible marking high gliders, which I've previously reviewed on the channel before. These work really well as well. Wow, just look at that. Just absolutely beautiful. A beautiful Bible, and one that you can really, if you enjoy colouring and being creative and doodling and things like that, I think you'll love something like this. Yeah, I hope you found that little look at this beautiful Bible interesting. And if you think it's something that you'd like to pick up for a gift for somebody, as I say, check out the link in the description. But yeah, really, really impressed with that, and really chuffed that I could pick up a copy of this, even if it was in a damaged box, for a really, really good price. Okay, so let's take a look at this, which is the other £10 Bible we have to look at. My eye drifted to this on the store because of the Filament application, which is something that I've been aware of for a few years, since I first saw the first Filament Bible at the Christian Resources Together event back in 2018, I believe it was. And so I've been looking to get hold of one of these, and when I saw this for £10, I thought, well, I'll definitely take a look at this. It is box damaged, but that was no big deal to me. But I'll just hold that up for you in case you want to pause and have a look at any of the details here. So this is a New Living Translation, and it's a large print Thinline reference. So I quite like the idea that this is going to be quite slim and compact, if you like, but also that it's going to have a slightly larger print. So we'll take a look at that in a moment. But the main draw is, as I say, this Filament app, which I will attempt to show you on camera as well. Now the Bible is thumb indexed, so let's take a look at what's inside. It is a leather soft type binding. I'll see if I can get the exact terminology for you. It's a leather-like is how they refer to it. It's quite nice, quite attractive. It's got like a soft touch part here, but this part has like an embossed tooled pattern which gives a bit of grip. I do like some of the spine details there. It's quite nice, and there is some perimeter stitching as well, and it looks like silver gilding. And we've also got this silver thumb index system on the side, which actually looks quite attractive, and it's quite big gaps there for your thumb to find out where you want to be. So inside, it's again, this is a fairly cheaply produced Bible. So we've got a cardstock liner, a presentation page, and I think there is a bit of publication information here which we'll show you as well. So we'll just offer that up. So it looks like the text edition is the 2015 text edition of the New Living Translation. Yeah, it appears to be 2015. Now there is genuine leather versions of this Bible as well. And we've got a contents page. We've got something about the Filament app there. A note to readers, introduction to the NLT, and then we're into the text itself. Now, the text, as far as the text goes, it's lovely. Really, really nice. We've got a nice large font. I don't know, it's probably somewhere around an 8-point font. No book introductions though, because obviously the Filament app is all linked to this, and it's a paragraph format, but it is in 2 columns as well. The chapters seem to have headings, and major paragraphs also have headings too. So that's all fairly straightforward stuff. Now let's just see if there is a poetic layout. There is a poetic layout, centre justified, or centre aligned rather. So that's good. Between the testaments we will have, in fact let's use our handy dandy thumb mince. Nothing between the testaments, and we'll go to Matthew, and it isn't a self-pronouncing text. There is a few references and translation notes at the foot of the pages, but it is a red letter edition, something to be aware of. But the red letter is pretty decent. It's a dark sort of red crimson sort of colour to it. And in the back we'll have some maps as well, which I assume are Tyndale copyrighted. Yes, they are. So there's quite a few different bits of information in the back here. It looks like they annotate the maps, which is nice. I have an interesting infogram of the Book of Psalms there as well, which I've only just noticed. I'll take a look at that later. So yeah, some really nice features in the back. Looks like there is a list of verses that are to do with these topics as well, which is nice to see. A fair few of those. But there's no concordance in the back. So that's something to be aware of. But the main feature, as I said, with this Bible is the Filament app. So what I will do is I'll fire up the Filament app now. This is a free download from the Android or iOS stores. And basically what it enables is it links an app with downloadable content, sort of resources, online resources, to the pages of the Bible. So for example, if we were to go to Matthew and the birth of Christ, we would see, what we would do first of all is we would scan the page. So we would bring up the camera, and it's picked it up already, because what it does is it reads this number, and it knows that we are on, sorry, we'll just try that again. There, so it knows we're on page 820, which is the correct page number here. And it brings up a list of materials. Once you press go, it will bring a list of materials all to do with this particular page. So for example, Matthew chapter 1 to 4 is this is the section that we are going to be looking at, and it's got 3 sections. One is study, one is reflect, and one is see. So if we go to study, we'll find lots of study helps, or study notes basically. So here is a list of all the notes that pertain to this particular section, which is Matthew chapter 1 to 4. These are all references, explanations of words, translation notes, bit of cultural and contextual stuff in there as well. So this is basically like a little Bible commentary for this particular section, but very useful and great for younger people, great for everybody really. But perhaps if you're giving this to, I personally can see this being very useful for a younger person or somebody newly saved. It's an easy to read translation, and you've got the app integration, which is great. Young people today love to spend time on their phones. I guess a lot of adults certainly do as well. So this is good to see because it kind of taps into that. So lots of study notes there. If we go to reflect, we'll get more sort of devotional type content. So these are kind of like Bible readings, if you like. So all of the readings and devotional thoughts, thought for the day type materials will all be to do with the birth of the Lord Jesus, Matthew chapter 1 to 4. So we've got an article there about Bethlehem. We've got an article there about Herod. So these are all practical daily devotionals that match up with the section that you are in at the moment, Matthew 1 to 4. So again, that could be used as part of a daily reading plan, or some additional materials if you're doing a bit of a study and you'd like to actually spend time in a sort of devotional practical way in those verses. That will help you to do that. So, and then the final section is called C, and this is all kind of visual materials, visual resources to do with the chapters that you're in. So for example, there is an interactive map here of the ministry of Jesus. So obviously we're looking at the birth of the Lord Jesus here. Here is an interactive map that you can zoom in on and sort of click around and see for yourself, which again is really helpful for somebody who's getting into the Word of God. We've got another piece of material there. A lot of these will be videos actually, because they are visual resources. So there's some videos here. Some of them are cartoon sort of style by the Bible Project. That's a great project, really good to look at. So we've got a video there, and there's plenty others for you to have a look through as well. Perfect system for perhaps, and again this is just assumptions, but perhaps a young person who's getting into the Word of God and likes to use technology and would otherwise perhaps struggle to sit down and spend a lot of time with the scriptures. Maybe this might be a great way for them to get into Bible study. So really pleased to be able to pick one of these up. Lies beautifully flat, by the way. Is indeed very slim, perhaps about 1 inch thick, but the paper opacity is great. The paper feels good. I really like this thumb index system. So all in all, can't say enough good things about this. The New Living Translation isn't particularly a translation that I read a lot of, but I could certainly see an argument for it, particularly when you think about the app materials that are linked to this Bible and to this system. So really pleased to see this sort of thing available for people today. Really interesting and fascinating to get one of these at last. Really pleased with it. That's the New Living Translation Thinline Reference Bible, large print, the Filament Bible. Okay, on to the final Bible of this little review video. This is one that leapt out at me. First of all, the box. I just like the look of this box. This is the CSB, Christian Standard Bible, Men of Character Bible. And I liked the look of this lovely sort of forest scene on the cover. I like the box design. Here's the back of the box, should you want to take a closer look at it. So this one is a black leather touch CSB Bible. It is indexed. And again, it's something that I wanted to take a look at because I do like the CSB Bible, the Christian Standard Bible translation. And in particular, I like the look of this because it was a Bible for men. We're seeing a lot of this nowadays, which is Bibles that are kind of aimed at a particular group of people, whether it's youth, whether it's women, whether it's men, whether it's children, young folk, what have you. So I was interested in this. I like this logo here. It's sort of an M and a C, which is embossed on this leather soft cover, or leather-like colour. We've got some nice spine detailing there, which is gold sort of gilt work, and gold gilt page edges as well. There's an example of the thumb index, not quite as good, I don't think, as the ones on the Tyndale Filament Bible that we've just looked at, but I do like the fact that they are black for the Old Testament, red for the New Testament. Again, that's great for somebody who's perhaps new to the scriptures, perhaps newly saved, perhaps wants to get into Bible study. This would be great for them, because I do like that sort of system. And the cover in general is pretty nice, and I'd also consider maybe getting this rebound, because, spoiler alert, I do really like this Bible. I've been using this for some daily readings, just trying to get to grips with it and trying to get used to it. And I do really like it. The dimensions are very sort of squarish, which is great because it reminds me a lot of my favourite Bible of all time, the Cameo Wide Margin, and it's got that same kind of dimensions. It's not a tall and thin Bible. It's more of a sort of wider Bible, and we'll see why that is when we get into it. So here it is. The Men of Character Bible, and a lot of the study notes and materials here are from this gentleman, Dr. Gene Getz, and I have to say, having read quite a bit of it already, I do quite like his notes and his style. Here we have some publication information. It's from the 2020 CSB Text edition, so this is a very sort of modern, up-to-date edition of that particular translation. But the Bible itself is copyrighted in 2017, I believe. Oh, no, actually, no, sorry, scratch that. The Bible itself is copyrighted 2021, so this is a brand new Bible. Again, £10 I paid for this because it was box damaged, but can't really honestly say the box was that damaged. There is genuine leather versions of this as well. So we have, in the beginning, some introduction information which tells you a little bit about this particular edition, how to use it, etc., which is actually quite useful to have a look at. And here we will see the different features that are particular to this edition. So there'll be 5 different types of articles, shall we say, across the Bible. We'll have the Men of Character articles. So these are quite large articles, some of them spanning 2 pages, but they'll be inserted at different stages throughout the Bible, and you can spend some time on that, reading that article, applying it to yourself, making it part of a daily devotional or something like that. We'll also see some Bible character profiles. Here's an article, for example, on Adam. So if we were to go to Genesis, early on in the book of Genesis, of course, we would find an article on Adam, which we could spend some time with. There's also these articles, which is called The Measure of a Man, and they feature key character traits and qualities that are good for Christian men. So again, very, very sound, very decent articles these are for men. Verses to remember. So we have a 4th sort of feature, which is basically highlighted verses. So throughout the scriptures, you watch me not be able to find one now, you'll just see some verses that are kind of highlighted or underlined and kind of pop out of the page at you, and it's there just to help you remember something key, commit it to memory to help you in your life. And of course, as standard, we're just not going to be able to find one of them. So let's have a... There we go. So here we go. Do not fear, I am with you. So this is Isaiah 41, the very memorable verse that we have there in verse 10. And it's repeated. So they actually do print it in this nice italicised text. So again, it's just emphasising it, getting it to pop out the page. So there's plenty of those throughout this Bible. And then finally there's Bible book introduction. So Love this page, by the way, which just sort of shows you the intro to the Old Testament. Really like this forestry type scene. So here's a book intro for Genesis. Love the timeline on the bottom. I always like to see that. It really helps you get everything in context and begin to figure out how the Bible's put together and the history that it covers. We have an outline, and we have some preamble, some introductory remarks, and we've also got a reading plan, which is pretty cool as well, which you can use to form a reading structure around. So really like that. But let's have a look at the text in this Bible. So let's just go over to a passage. Here's a poetic layout for Job, and we have lots of cross-references in the outer margins, and then we have some sort of more translational notes, shall we say, rendering type references underneath the pages at the bottom, at the footer of the page, for example. But they are linked to letters, so you need to be looking for letters, and it's also mentioned what verse each of these references is in. We'll just offer that up to the camera so you can see a little bit clearly perhaps how those references work, if you want to pause on that still for a moment. So I like the references, but in all, I just like the layout. I love this sort of two-column format with the outer margin. This bit reminds me of the topaz a lot, and it gives the Bible that wider sort of wider format, which again I'm a fan of. The paper's good. The opacity is pretty decent, to be honest, considering it's got some illustration type. You can probably see that it's got a pattern to it, the page, but it doesn't come through and it doesn't spoil what's on the other side. Even that sort of darker coloured book introduction for Ezekiel there doesn't really bleed over into the next page. So I find this font nice. Again, it's a modern, crisp, digital typeface here. Probably somewhere around an 8-point font again, which seems to be standard, to be honest. If I compare it to the New Living Translation, it's perhaps not quite as clear as that. It's a little bit smaller, and the leading is not quite as pronounced as it is in this edition. If I compare it to something like my Daily Reader, the Cameo wide margin, well, you know how I feel about this, so I much prefer this, but this is still very, very good for a modern Bible and a modern layout. So we come to the intertestament period, and let's have a look. There's not much there apart from a little note about John the Baptist, and again there's a character study, and of course that would be because he is prophesied in Malachi. So that's what's there. When we come over into Matthew, you'll see that it isn't a red letter Bible. This is a black letter Bible, so that is an interesting thing to note. Not too many modern Bibles are not red letter, shall we say. If I go over to my other Bible that I bought for £10, the Filament Bible, it is a red letter, but this is not, so that's quite interesting to see that. You'll notice that there's plenty of this green, sort of variations of green that allow this Bible to actually be quite attractive. And that's another reason why I like spending time with this edition. It's really quite attractive to read. I do like this green. So here's a character study on James, Simon and Judas, and you'll find throughout the Gospels there's plenty of these types of articles, because obviously we're introduced to quite a few Bible characters. That we've got one for Andrew here. We've got John 3:16 as a verse to remember, so that is repeated up here for us to commit to memory. We've got an article on Nathaniel. We've got an article on Nicodemus. So these are all male characters that this Bible is just trying to lift out to give us some practical lessons, some things to apply to ourselves as we seek to grow and develop as men of God. In the back, let's have a little look at what we've got. So Revelation goes. We've got a decent concordance. It is pretty good. It's not as good as some, but nevertheless, there's plenty of words in there. We've even got some note paper, and we've got some maps as well, which I'm assuming are copyrighted to Holman. Really strong recommendation from myself if you're looking for an easier to read translation, if you're looking for a Bible for men. This is certainly worth a look. It's certainly worth your consideration. So that's all I've got to say about that one. Really pleased to have picked up those three for £10, £30, something for everybody there in that mix. So really did enjoy looking at these Bibles with you. I hope you find all that interesting. Please do give us a like if you enjoyed the video, and of course don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you on another video soon. Take care. God bless. Bye bye.